All right, guys, super news, daily news. Just found out that squirrels, they did a study. Where's the study at? So news. Oh yeah, I actually read this yesterday. Well, anyway, 12 people were hurt when a metro bus slams into a lumber truck in South Almani. I read this yesterday. The Justice Department is paying out $116 million to female inmates at a federal prison. It's now shut down. It's actually somewhere in California. They're being coerced into sex, being pretty much raped, forced to have sex for certain favors, but it's closed down now. So some of these people actually are in jail and convicted for crimes. It says about 1.3 million is going to 100 victims. Fuck, went to jail. I mean, some of those situations are very scary. You feel you're gonna get killed if you don't give it up. No, but 1.3 million, I mean, I don't know. I mean, if they're alive to enjoy that security from the money, hopefully they spend it well, buy a home and just live out their life. And so the first recorded of hunting squirrels. So squirrels known for eating nuts, right? Just eating nuts. They see that they just discovered that squirrels are actually eating other mammals, smaller rodents, and they're surprised about it, and they think it's because of the opportunity of, they're called voles, V-O-L-E. It's a name of a small rodent, smaller than a squirrel. And I don't think it's like a rat or a mice. I don't know what it is, some sort of ground rodent. There's a picture right here of it eating it. And they're just surprised. They think the change in behavior or hunting and eating other smaller mammals or other like living things, eating meat, omnivores, I think it's called omnivores, is because of just the availability of food. So they're surprised about that. I guess renters with pets could get new protections under, in LA for sure. Some people don't like pets, some tenants, I'm not tenants, some owners of buildings don't want people to move in because of pets, bunch of crimes and shit. But okay, so Supreme Court. All right, let me go back right here. So that young lady who killed in Wisconsin, who killed one of her classmates and a teacher at a Christian school, she actually killed herself. Okay, I'm gonna I made a reaction video to that, but I forgot that she actually committed suicide after she committed the act, which is really sad. At the end of the video, I said she ruined her life, but maybe it's whoever watches it, it's just gonna help you guys. Just be careful with the mistakes you make, So Supreme Court to hear TikTok's last gasp bid to avoid U.S. ban. In Trump's address recently, they asked him about TikTok, and he's a little conflicted because TikTok actually helped him gain some of the younger generation, and that went to his winning the presidency. And so he's like, in his first term, he wanted to ban TikTok because it's a Chinese company and it makes our country vulnerable, and all our data is going to TikTok, and it's the biggest platform right now, social media platform, and they gather information, they gather all our data. They can also maybe use propaganda or feed videos to you and affect just our behavior, what we do, what we buy, how we think about things. Literally, it can affect you psychologically, physiologically, all that. And then Liz Cheney, if you guys don't know, her father was Dick Cheney. There's a movie. He was part of the administration with Bush, I think. I could be wrong. He's like a war guy about war. He's a bureaucrat. Some say he was a warmonger. And there's a good movie out. I forgot what it's called. Vice. I think it was called Vice. Check it out. But his daughter, so some Republicans, or mostly the Republican conservative side, they're trying to bring bring the court of law down on her because they feel like she amplified the violence that actually occurred on January 6th, the so-called treasonous act of, what is it called? I know you guys know. What is it called? Anyway, people stormed the Capitol, right? And that's a federal offense. If a president does that, he could get impeached. And she was calling for his impeachment, but there's some investigation going on of how many FBI intelligence agents were actually there, compared to what was actually confessed or what was actually told to our government, that there was only supposed to be 3 FBI agents, but only 3. Like, that sounds kind of silly. I'm talking about undercover, not policemen or not any sort of security agents. No, this is like undercover. And supposedly now there's like maybe 24 federal agents were there undercover. And they're thinking, like, Trump's argument is that they were there to cause trouble because, you know, people are saying it was mostly peaceful, but they were riled up by a few characters. And then just the way that the rule of law came down on these people who stormed the Capitol. People got long sentences, 20, 30, 40 years, and they're still in jail right now. And just some, I don't really know the particulars, but I heard some people were like old people who were like just a little too harsh of a punishment for it. So I don't know. But this Cheney, I don't know. I just look at people. Maybe it's weird. Maybe I should do a scientific study. If I tell somebody, if I give somebody pre-information about somebody before they meet them, and then they go and they look at a photo of them, and what's their opinion? If they look at them, if they could tell whether that person's a good person or a bad person, right? Or like, by giving them information about them before, or maybe tell them who their father was, because people think that guy Cheney wasn't a good guy. He was just a warmonger, right? He benefited off of war. So watch that movie. I want to read a book on that guy actually too. But that's his daughter, and how is she even part of Congress? I don't know. Again, there is some, like, sort of ways to get around certain things when you're just like, oh, my father was in charge, I could just pass it down to him. It's like nepotism. It's having a company already well established and just passing down to your daughter, even in government. But the thing is, like, okay, you have the last name, you're already popular because of that, or more well known than somebody who's making a name for themselves, like a kind of a Vec or a Tulsi Gabbard, or even Trump when it comes to the presidency. So I don't know. I don't trust the lady just because, you know, where she comes from. So I guess the government was going to shut down because they weren't going to fund it. But our U.S. Congress, mostly from the Biden administration, are going to like continue funding certain parts of the government so it doesn't shut down. And obviously the conservative Republican side are like, you guys are idiots. So we don't trust them either. And this Russian scientist who makes chemical weapons, he was targeted in some sort of terrorist attack. This Ukrainian individual, hired by Ukraine. Once it happened, Ukraine took credit for it. They said, yeah, it was our attack. We're responsible for it. We hired some dude to go to Russia to pick up a bomb, attach that bomb to a scooter. You know, I guess they have scooters over there like the ones that we have over here in California. And so they said, he like the bird scooters, he parked a scooter in front, and when the guy came out, he was in his car watching the guy. I guess he was on live stream showing the people who hired him from Ukraine. And then when the man that they were trying to kill, the scientist who made these chemical weapons, it blew up right in front of him and he died. So it's very just the approach. And supposedly over 4,800 times, so 4,800 times that these weapons this guy's creating was actually used by Russia against Ukraine and the war that they got going on. So, and these chemical weapons are seen by people like the United Nations or NATO as against the rules of war, just the effects of these chemical weapons. Chemical weapons have been seen as something negative in war since World War I, Vietnam. Yeah, but they targeted him and killed him. And supposedly Russia they said they have detained the individual. And they left like a sort of comment. He's going to do life in prison, but you're never going to hear about that guy again. Russia doesn't play, so. Yeah. Beautiful woman over there. She's looking at her car. It must be new. So yeah, it's interesting. It's very interesting. So what else news is going on? Again, that young lady, she ended up killing herself. Ooh, and there's something else I want to read here. I might read it. So, and I just read that most of the immigrants in America, obviously we already know they come from our neighbor Mexico, but the number is so staggering. It's like 4.6 million of the illegals. I guess there's like between like 11 and 14 million. Like most of them, 4.6 million come from Mexico, and the second is only like 300,000. I think it's like 700,000. But 4.6 million Mexicans come over here, and then after that, it's like 700,000 of the next country, whose second place is like, it's pretty staggering. And again, it's going to be hard for Trump to do these deportations, especially in these sanctuary cities, or obviously mostly blue states like California, New York, Illinois, like Chicago, Washington, some other places as well. I think New Jersey, and yeah, and then Texas is second when it comes to the state that has illegals in their country. Like California, I guess, has 2 million, and then Texas has 1.6 million. And so, but Texas has given up like about 1,600 miles of land to house these immigrants once they get detained. It's like a process. Detain them, take them to Texas, hold them there, and then start the process of sending them back. So yeah, that's just what's going on. It's gonna be hard, and I don't know. I could picture some sort of civil war going on, just like when they wanted to free the American black men at the time of slavery, and they didn't get along about it. They didn't agree, so they went to war. And just don't think this time is I don't know, unless they're gonna put the immigrants to war. Maybe I'm seeing it the worst case scenario. But yeah, so. And what else? But I want to read this article. Okay, let me see. What is the local news? Oh yeah, I already kind of went over that, right? There's an article right here. CNN. So right here. A tool we have in our toolbox. Canadian official threatens to cut off energy to U.S. Probably because of sanctions. CNN Aaron's Burnett spoke with Premier Doug Ford of Ontario about the possibility of Canada could retaliate against President-elect Donald Trump's threatened tariffs by shutting down energy flows to the United States. A top Canadian official warned. Oh, it's just a video. I'll read that later. It's pretty funny. This guy's being a tough guy, huh? I don't know. Anyway, the squirrel thing's interesting, right? Squirrels eat meat.